doing it live!
Because like... Okay. I'm gonna go grab myself a drink. I'm gonna go
You should know... You should never tell me to do what I want. Never tell a pen to do what she wants.
My joke in the chat when I said you lie when your lips are moving.
But you don't see my lips moving, so therefore, how could you tell I'm lying?
Now what? Be back to me.
Edit. I don't want to delete. I just want to edit so I can go to the view page. Can I go to the view page, please? Oh, wait, I know how to get to the view page. Because I am slightly smart. I can make fun of myself.
Alright, I'm back.
Okay, let's try that again. I've actually muted myself, which is even better. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Red Pill Compendium. We'll try this again, second part. Hopefully it's not worse as the first part. I've made some minor changes, and I'm still kind of putting one more feature. I've actually muted myself, which is even better. Which is... Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Red Pill Compendium. The audio for the rest of the people. Hopefully it's not worse as the first part. I've made some minor changes. Okay.
Hello.
Okay, so you should be seeing people show up, I hope. The audio for the rest.
Hi.
Hello.
Okay, so you should be seeing. You try that again, Nemo. Hello, Nemo.
Hello.
Okay, give me.
Hi.
All right. I'm gonna wait. All right. Okay, I'm gonna turn you guys up. Hello, Nemo. Just a bit on that side. Good. Okay, now I'm gonna go back into this. I'm gonna turn this down and. All right, we are here, ladies and gentlemen, because of, as you noticed in the title bar, hopefully the title bar shows up, that we've had some great drama in at least the Red Pill sphere, where one Mr. Metokur went to Bloodsport with a member of the Badger. Actually, no, he was supposed to go with against one of the Badgers, and in this case, it was supposed to be Dr. Animacan versus Mr. Metokur. They were supposed to go head-to-head, and, well, Mr. Metokur showed up.
What comes out in an all-out blood cage match?
2 men enter, 1 man leaves.
Except I don't think there was a second man there, so.
Yeah.
No, apparently he showed no interest and kind of, took his balls and kind of went away into a corner and weeped himself to whatever it was that Mike likes to weep himself in. And, an individual that showed up that should have not have showed up to the Bloodsport. Now, let's see here if I have it. There she is, the happy little person known as Allison Tiemann, who pretty much, I know, who kind of filled in for that man there, which is Dr. Animacat. And as we all know who Jim is all about, that is Jim, Mr. Metokur. Now, why?
Can I
why-
put it
What?
Okay, no, it's coming up finally on Twitch. Never mind. I was letting you know. It's coming up now.
Yeah, of course. So now the question is, why was Mr. Metokur and Jim going head to head? Well, it was because of this man here, Mr. Ross, Mr. Jonathan Ross, pedo extraordinaire, who likes little girls, but goes to watch his children bathe in the swimming pools and whatnot. Yeah, he's a freak tard. He would rather screw little girls and shoot up schools than date real women.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, Mr. Metokur, Jim, he kind of does what he normally does and calls people autistic.
Yeah, as his go-to insult.
Yeah,
Oh, wait. Is this the part where I should be offended and go, "Ree"?
Yeah. You can't say that. You don't know he's autistic.
well,
That's unfair. You're labeling autistics.
well, according to Mr. Ross, he's already admitted that he is. So,
Yeah.
boom, there goes one down. So, all in all, like I mentioned before, long story short, this man disappeared. He showed up nowhere, and the unfortunate thing of little Miss Allison Tiemann decided to go head to head with Mr. Metokur to not talk about Jonathan Roth, that was originally supposed to be the conversational point, but Mr. Metokur, and that we're going to be talking about Dr. Animacan and why he was being a cock and not showing up to his own blood sport battle. How do you think that went well?
Yeah.
I'm gonna hazard a guess at, not very well?
Tell me more about your mother.
Yeah, no, fuck that. Long story short, it didn't go very well for Allison Tiemann. I'm gonna move this up here. And she decided to play the medical kind of thing. Hello, chat. Hi, Pen. I can see you typing. At least the chat works. I always worry about the chat doesn't work. No, that's the first thing I worry about, because the chat doesn't work sometimes. I'm like, okay, at least the chat works. All right. So let's get down to the nitty gritty. Let's pull this apart. We know the outcome. All you have to go is go into interweb, go to YouTube, go into where you find your local blood sport, and you will see this up in the air. Or you can go to Twitch, or not Twitch, the Twitters, and you can watch the spurg happen there. But let's get down to the nitty gritty. Who are the Badgers? Because there's a lot of people who are asking that question. I know that you, Pen, and you, Nemo, have some very intimate relationships with the Badgers. I myself have been involved with them, but in a different perspective. I'm just that, able-bodied troll who gets information. But you two, what were the experiences for this, Pen, since you're the guest? We're going to start with you first.
Well, if you want me to start at the very beginning, I was but a concept in my mother's womb. Oh, wait, we're not going back that far.
No, we got to go forward a bit.
Okay. I got involved with the Honey Badgers literally over a discussion that they were having right after the whole Gamergate thing started back in the fall of 2014. Where they had somebody write in a mailbag to them who was talking about panels at DragonCon pushing the feminist agenda. So Allison had read out the newsletter, not the letter, the mailbag letter, and I had reached out to Allison. I think I was a patron at that time, but I know that I didn't donate very much, but I was a patron. And I reached out and I said to her that I knew someone who ran or helped run DragonCon, and that if Allison and her crew wanted an opportunity to try to host their own panel at DragonCon to try to counter some of what the feminists and SJWs were pushing, that she would need to organize it through them. After that, Alice and I talked a little bit more, and she invited me onto the show a few times to give my perspective on things. Some of them were, some of them for like online gaming about how many women, the harassment women get or how they're ignored, which is completely untrue according to the own statistics that were provided, and so on and so forth. Fast forward a few months, and Allison is getting ready for the Calgary Expo convention. The Calgary Expo convention in April. It was in April of 2015. So a month before, she asks me if I would like to volunteer any designs. She wanted me to design her Badger, but in an aviation flyer's outfit. So I did. So you guys probably, those who are listening, have probably seen that design used frequently since then. I had also used that same design in making the Gamergate. Sorry, I'm looking at Twitch and I got distracted by a red pill man that showed up.
Yeah, the Cardinal Capsule. Sorry, he's our mascot.
Got it.
Yeah,
Hi, Mr. Cardinal. I'm saluting him, Mr. Cardinal. Okay. And I had designed the Gamergate Badger banner that they used, which apparently, according to Allison, contributed to them getting kicked out. But now her story has changed a couple of times. And while I was supportive,
more icons, so don't be too scared.
Okay, I'll just close my eyes and I won't see anything. Ah! Oh wait, nothing popped up. Okay. I had been defensive of honey badgers at first, thinking that, okay, according to what Allison is saying, because I did not believe anything else that was coming out at the time, I was defensive of them. I was even defensive of them to my contacts at DragonCon about what had initially happened, because they were only getting portions of the story as well. But as the months continued to go, I started to question Allison's motives for what happened and choices that she made that happened at Calgary. And since then, I just have disassociated myself with them. And before I did so, I tried to question Allison on her motives for going and why she did certain things that we'll get into later on. I don't want to give any spoilers for the main topic. All I got was, the badgering back, the pushback, some people even made fan art where it was like, oh, Penn is having tinfoil hat theories. I'm like, no, don't give me the triangle tinfoil hat, give me the bowler shaped tinfoil hat.
Yeah, I was there for that. That was very interesting.
Yeah.
So I have no issues with certain members such as Brian. I have no issues with Karen. But I do question the direction that Honey Badger has gone in since the whole Cal-X thing, which Allison is still attempting to fight in court, which, again, in my opinion, is stupid in of itself for her to have even done so. But we'll see what happens. I'll turn it over to Nemo because I think I've rambled on long enough.
Okay, Nemo, so cut and dry, how did you get yourself involved in the Badgers, and who are they?
I heard that Freudian slip, the Badgers.
The Badgers, yes, I know.
Okay, well, all started with when I started getting into Men's Rights. Honey Badgers was one of my, I think, the places I was pointed to get into them. So that was a long time ago, but I didn't really have any main contact except for, a few messages here and there until, basically, the Cal-X thing was a big thing, but I wasn't ever personally involved with that, but that was one of my first things where I was like, wait a minute, you guys are a bit suspicious. And then around that time as well was when Rachel Edwards, who's someone I knew, was basically shit canned, and I got to hear about a bit more about how their tactics aren't exactly savory. But then I finally actually got to work with them personally when they wanted to come over to Melbourne and do a meetup here, and that was fair enough. And I thought, hey, listen, I'm not that big of a fan of theirs, but there are a lot of people who are that would love to see them. And since I'm the guy who's, I guess, got the reputation to get that stuff done down here, if it has to be me, so be it. Anyway, turned out it was a bit more difficult than we prepared, and there was a terrorist threat, bombing threat, and they were basically asking me to break legal privilege to get them advertising so they could say that, get as much victim credit as possible. And I had a few video calls with them here and there, and the more I found out that they were doing this not because they wanted to let people know that, this is a freedom of speech issue, but they purely wanted to connect this with, like, getting media attention, and also at the same time blocking me out of that media attention, So after that, I just lost all respect I could have for them, and ever since then, I've been looking into some of their finances and the way they make money and how much money they make, and it's pretty terrifying just how, like, I guess how manipulative they are and how much they're getting out of this. Like, people complain a lot about Nita Sarkeesian, they use her as a great example, and I'd say, Alison Tieman's very close to that level of manipulation and money made. But yeah, we'll go on from there. That's a basic summary.
The basic summary. Well, again, it comes back down to who are the badgers. Well, the badgers, for those who are not fully, immersed with the red pill sphere, they were the introduction of the men's right female addition to that. And unfortunately, there was an original 4 before they kind of restructured. And the current restructuring is a little bit questionable. Do any of you remember who the original 4 are?
You want to go first?
I think, obviously, Allison, Hannah, Karen, and Crystal?
No.
Crystal Garcia came later, but she was very close to being part of the original.
Then if it's not Crystal, then the other one who became the, oh God,
Diana Davis.
Yes.
Yes, there we go.
The mistress behind the cock.
Yes.
Karen Strong, one of the strongest out of all the Badgers. Not kind of, play on words here, but she is one of the stronger ones of the Badgers. As we all know, Alison Tieman. And there was another one, the black one.
That's Crystal Garcia.
It wasn't Crystal Garcia? No, I thought she came.
Yeah, she's a black. No, she was a black one. If that's the one you're talking about, she's African American.
Yeah, no, I'm probably thinking about somebody else, but there was another one. But regardless of the factor, so basically it was created from the idea or at least the concept of a woman's perspective on men's rights. And, well,
yes.
How well did that turn out? Didn't turn out very well because Alison Tieman had infighting with the originals, and they split ways, and eventually they brought in Hannah and then the rest of them. But the core factor here going forward is the factor that somewhere in the line, Dr. Amerkamp, who is one of the, he's the artist. He's also a co-writer. He's also somewhere again a host for the Raging or something like that. As well as he has his own little thing that it's kind of questionable because he kind of spurgs in music and whatnot, and that's even questionable. He calls himself a musician comedian, and I put that in air quotes. He decided to, punk out one Mr. Metokur. Now, for those who don't know who Mr. Metokur is, or who, have been living under a rock, Jim started off as Jim 81, and Well, he pretty much just kind of he was the troll of all trolls. His autism will never change, and I hope his autism never changes. After a while, he got bored with that moniker of being Jim81, and went away for a bit, and only to come back later for Gamergate, somewhere in that time frame where he became the internet aristocrat. He pretty much focused mostly on Tumblr and the I can word, I know I can. The Hugbox Chronicles. Yes. And then afterwards, Gamergate, because, well, those were a thing. And after a while, Gamergate went south, and so did he. He disappeared off the face of the earth and started trolling Gamergate, which was awesome. I thought it was pretty good because he took more of a centralist route. He wasn't really for or against Gamergate. He was just kind of, Gamergate has changed, and here's the reason of why it's changed. And we've got all these people who are just shilling and becoming shills, and that's all they do is shill. It'd be nice if they were honest about it, but they're saying, no, it's for the plight of Gamergate. Well, years later, or after the demise of Gamergate, which he called, he became Mr. Metokur. And again, he's mostly dealt with the Dead series, Deviant, the Pampers Pandemonium, and Brightside Bob. He still brings out his Hugbox Chronicles every now and then, but within that Hugbox Chronicle, he brought up that one gentleman that I mentioned before, Jonathan Ross, who, well, had some massive problems. And again, pedophilism isn't the greatest thing, and, well, everybody tends to spurg out on that one.
Well, exactly. It's like it's really the ultimate taboo. Like, no one, and I mean no one, likes a pedophile.
Well, the problem with that is Dr. Randomcamp defended the pedophile.
Yeah, exactly. Turns out no one except Dr. Randomcamp.
And his defense was more or less, well, we can't call him autistic because, that's wrong. And if you understand the medical terminology, you'll have a better outlook on things. Blah, 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 bullshit. And then he just starts subtle jabs at Mr. Metokur until, well, he demanded a blood sport.
Yeah, it was like, all right, if you're going to keep doing this, say it to my face, bitch. Yeah. Or at least say it to the microphone, bitch.
Well, yeah. But it gets even worse because though Jim showed up to the arena, and I've mentioned this earlier, somebody didn't, and he chickened out, or he pleaded that he couldn't do it because it isn't his style. So there's that problem. Okay, now we've gotten down to the course of what is it? Dr. Randomcamp and his style. I have to ask this question going before I go continuously forward. Who the fuck is Dr. Randomcamp?
All right. Do you want me to cover that, or do you want to go on?
No, please. That's the question. Who the fuck is Dr. Randomcamp?
Okay. Dr. Randomcamp is a man from England who is a failed comedian, failed music writer. And by failed, I mean, like, he did get some gigs, he did make some money doing it, but he was never what you would call successful. He got into the men's rights. He's had a channel doing animation as well for quite some time on YouTube. I think roughly 9 to 10 years. But he recently got involved with honey badgers and making, I guess, response videos to feminists since about 2015. And ever since then, he's been getting a lot more popular and a lot more money using comedy as anti-feminist. As this has happened, we are basically partnered with the honey badgers, and he now collaborates with them with videos, as well as doing his own response videos, all basically anti-feminist feminist response videos as an anti-feminist perspective. And for some reason, very recently, he became someone who started taking the word autistic to, like, very, very personally. I don't know, it did happen suddenly because this has been slang for a while on the internet. But around late 2017, or maybe mid-2017, he started taking it like a personal affront. And anyone who did it, he went to internet war with. And he did this with Sargon of Akkad, who he was up until then good friends with. And then he decided to do it with Mr. Metokur, otherwise known as Rinton Riscat, otherwise known as Jim. And
Oh, don't get me wrong. Jim has many other names, but we'll just go with those three.
No. I know. He's like the devil.
Oh, he is. He again. I don't mean to get away from Dr. Ramacam because, well, I'll put it this way: Dr. Ramacam is a nobody. Jim 81 Jim. Whatever else that he wants to come up with, the internet aristocrat, Mr. Metokur. What else was he? He was also just Jim. He was
but let's be fair here.
He is the real star of this thing, and
but I want to give Mike or Dr. Ramacam his thing where he became very relevant when he started going to the niche market of anti-feminist videos.
Well, here's the
That's
problem.
what got him his popularity.
Yeah, of
Before that, he was nobody.
Well, again, it did give him something, but ultimately, at the end of the day, he's still floating around, I guess, about 60K. Yeah, he's grown since the last time I looked at him, which was roughly about 30-something K. But when you compare to Jim, he's like small fry.
Yes, he is. But I guess the reason why I give it credit is because if you go on Dr. Ramacam and you go on his own Patreon, he's making $800 a video.
Oh,
and that's not chump change. He's actually making close to $900, but I round down.
Mm-hmm.
That's not chump change. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I get it.
And to say that he was not making that type of money even close before he started doing anti-feminist videos. Look at his view count compared to before and after he started doing this. When he did his first one, which was, I think, 32 reasons you shouldn't be in... The 32 reasons male privilege doesn't exist. Mm-hmm. Something like that.
Okay.
Right? Ever since then, that was a clear example of his success.
All right. So.
But sorry, I didn't need to.
No.
Wedge that in there.
Well, yeah. I get it, because there's a lot to unpack when it comes down to Sir Randy McCam, or Herr Doctor, as I like to call him. For whatever reason, I honestly think if he's spurging out, or at least getting really upset with the factor that people are using autism, or at least autistic, in very strange narratives or ways, that chances are he might be one.
Yeah.
He might have like Asperger's or something, but he himself could have autism, which could be the reason of why he's very antisocial, very shy.
Yeah.
I mean,
unable to do things that most people can do very easily. That's like almost beyond being reasonable. You know, people like this. I said, you go. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, well, my brother is autistic, and he's a different level of autistic. He has the IQ of maybe about 72, but he's a very functional individual, and he's very into himself for the most part. He has to learn how to deal with people. If he can help it, he doesn't want to deal with people if he could, but he's learned.
And I would add that he may not be the most intelligent person, but he's very, very he has a very high vocabulary and can use his words very well. Yeah. So in other words, something that similar to some people that are autistic, they're extremely proficient in one thing, you know.
Uh-huh.
And it seems to me that Dr. Ramacam is very proficient with his words.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of things to it that he could be proficient in, and wordsmithing, which he could have been doing in the middle of Bloodsport, the Blood Bowl. He really focused on wanting somebody else to come and save his bacon.
Bacon.
Now, speaking of bacon, why would one Miss Allison Tiemann decide to join the battle and defend her boy?
I have a number of theories. The boyfriend aspect I can't confirm, but I do have my suspicions about. By the way, Allison is or was married.
No, they're still married, but
Yeah, well, we'll put it this way. I'm not gonna say that they're not married. He probably is still married to her, but is cucking himself up. I don't know. Just speculation. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Let's just say, can we save the that speculation because I have dirt, if you will, but we'll save that for part 2. Let's just go
that
into...
reminds me, because I want to make this roughly about 2 hours. We're going to have multiple segments, so there's, like I said, there's a lot to unpack with this whole Badger scenario, and I want to let you guys have some fun, rant, rave, talk about what your situations were in certain scenarios with the Badgers, that kind of thing. So this is the ultimate goal. So I will be keeping the time, like I said before earlier, and I will tell you when you guys are going to be, killing it, so we can call that one a show, and then come back later, roughly about Thursday or something, to do another one, because this is going to be fun.
Yes, it is.
It's gonna get juicy.
It's gonna get very juicy.
A pickle Rick!
But anyway, so let's get into the real reasons why she may have did this. We've got the reason that she admitted outright.
Well, we know that she wanted to shill, but
yeah, but let's go into theoretical,
yes.
Which would be she wanted to defend someone who wasn't basically capable of defending himself or wasn't willing to defend himself.
So wait, so isn't that like considered white knighting?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Ah, so an MRA who pretty much doesn't like people white knighting for the feminist will ultimately white knight for an MRA.
Well, we use hypergamy to his advantage.
Well, still, I just kind of think it's kind of ironic, don't you think?
It's very ironic. It's very, very ironic that
I
could just imagine what he would do if Steve Shives did the same thing.
Oh,
a little too ironic.
Okay, dial it down to 2 when it comes down to the background.
Yeah.
That's right. My microphone is closer to my face since I was gaming.
No, yeah, I know. I don't mind. I mean, it's a sing because it gets kind of
It's like raining
on
a winning day.
I'm gonna murder Alice. I'm gonna murder.
Anywho, back to the initial conversation before Pen goes into a solo.
Yeah. But I do find it hilarious when the MRA is using, female, like gynocentrism and hypergamy to his own advantage to protect himself from, a licking.
Yeah, but I thought that women don't have, that ability. They're victims, according to the MRA. See, this is where my MGTOWism, my classic, kind of kicks in and kind of goes, well, and this is something I have to bring up because I've had this little beef with Hannah over me being a MGTOW and her being an MRA. And while I was working alongside with them for putting in writings and whatnot, so blogging for them a little bit, she was trying to edit me, and I'm like going, you do realize that I'm a MGTOW, not an MRA. So my personal ideas and beliefs are going to be way skewed and way different and are going to be approached in a different manner than yours. And she's, yeah, I know. I get it. I'm like, okay. Even
Are you sure?
I'm like, do you fully understand it? Because the way how I'm going to word certain things or the way how I'm going to view it isn't in your spectrum. And it's going to be dissing you because I don't believe your narrative. I think it's more or less cultish in some ways. And this rogue doesn't like dealing with cults. I don't mind dealing with fans. I don't mind dealing with stalkers. But when you get cults involved, or at least come with the idea of a cultish idea, I kind of call bullshit. I have the same issue with the individuals within the MGTOW community that are kind of cultish, like the Sandman. Yes, I'm calling you out, Sandman. Or even Barbarossa. There are...
I agree they've got incredibly cultish tendencies to them.
Now, I'm not going to say that you can't listen to them. I'm not going to say that you shouldn't listen to them. I'm not going to say that you should follow them. But I'm just saying...
You know what? I'm going to go even further. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
And say that Sandman has some valid points that should be listened to.
Correct.
But that doesn't mean you have to take it with a grain of salt like you would with anyone else.
Correct. He should be an opener, and then you should be able to go further and do your research, because the idea behind MGTOWism is you, a man, going your own way. And if that means leaving and getting kind of going someplace else, you do that. You don't stick around and shill out money.
I just thought I'd bring this up.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to, I wanted to bring this up because not shilling for Sargon, but that he had done the cult behavior and analysis where he was reading snippets from The Wrong Way Home.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot who, Arthur something. Arthur Deacon?
Yeah, I think Deacon.
Yeah, Deacon. So the characteristics of cult behavior. Compliance with a group is number 1. Number 2, dependence on a leader. Number 3 is devaluing the outsider. Jim.
Yep.
Yeah.
And number 4, avoiding dissent.
Oh, that reminds me, because at that part there, you've just introduced something new. Now, going forward into this little narrative of Allison fucking up in her blood sport attempt, she went away, and so the Badgers somehow agreed to have one of their own patronage, one of their own guys that shill money to them. I'll call him the Human Bank. Came on Bloodsport to defend Randomer Camp.
And Allison.
Mostly Randomer Camp.
Mostly, but he did defend Allison.
Yeah, well, of course he would, because he's got to defend his god. And yes, Allison, if you are listening, and I'm going to make sure you will, because I'm going to be sending this to you, or at least a link to you, because I want to make sure that you know that I'm still thinking about you all cherishly. And I haven't forgotten anything that you and I have talked about, as well as anything that I might know about your case that you have, and that at any given time I can make your case very difficult. I don't care whether you're using a disbanded judge who can't really, or not judge, a lawyer who really can't work in Ontario. I can make sure he doesn't work anywhere. Just remember that.
Ooh,
anywho,
so okay,
that's not a threat. That's a promise. But anywho, go ahead.
Rogue, I'm sending you the clip, a little image from the clip there, so that we can keep these up on the board and in mind.
Oh, yeah,
so if you want to throw those up onto your screen there for the rest of the world to see, we could actually do this a little more in depth.
Yeah, no, we could do that.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Let me grab
And
this.
by the way, hi, Allison. I know you didn't really screw me badly, but I feel like as a men's rights activist, I see you hurting men, so I decided you personally got me involved.
Oh, okay. So I have my own Dear Allison moment. Dear Allison, I took what you did very, very personally for completely different reasons that you wouldn't understand. I don't think you ever could understand. Although I do enjoy you trying to throw me under the bus when you were defending yourself not too long after Calgary, when I basically was criticizing you about your tactics, which I'm sure we'll be getting into relatively soon. P.S. It was never about the money, because as I mentioned to you then, because I had to correct the record from your little spurg, that you had already paid me for my services, and we were both quite happy with the amount that we had agreed upon. So, you can't leverage funding against me. Nice try, though. P.S. I hope you're doing well. And, I hope your court case... No. I don't wish her sweet dreams. I wish her the most agonizing, painstaking, nerve-wracking dreams, because, as Rogue mentioned, her case can go very south very quickly with some details that we have.
Okay,
have a nice day.
Let me just before you start, let me
sorry.
interject this, because we do have a SoundCloud, and this is going to be kind of difficult for those who are listening to this. I unfortunately, if you go to the Twitch side, you'll be able to see this nice little image that I posted up. This is the characteristics of occult behavior. It actually lays down the basic 4, which is the group compliance, dependency on the leader, and so on and so forth, devaluing the outsider. So if you want to check us out live, please come over to the Twitch site or go over to YouTube. We'll be hosting on Gator and Frog for the Twitch, as well as you go to YouTube, go to the Red Pill Compendium for the YouTube, and you should be seeing it there. I think I have links in the SoundCloud, so just click one of those and it should send you where you should be going to. Go ahead, Nemo.
I was going to say, I don't think Pen understands what I mean by sweet dreams. After hearing something like this, the chance of her having sweet dreams.
Oh, you were talking about in the isn't it ironic, don't you think, kind of sense?
Sweet dreams are made of these.
And who would have thought? It figures.
Exactly. But yeah, as I said, that's the reason why I'm involved. Is basically I'm sick of, her getting hands over fists of money.
Oh, hands over fist of money. Thank you, Nemo, because this was something I wanted to say. Because I'm going to switch over to my other scene. I'm going to get rid of all of these lovely people at the moment. And then I'm going to add a new thing, because you can go to Patreon, the patronage, or patreon.com, or whatever it is.
Patreon.com.
And you'll be presented. Yeah, there we go. There we go. It comes.
Oh, I was going to say I could grab a screen cap, but you're probably already ahead of me with actually loading the webpage, are you not?
Oh, yeah. You can go to the Honey Badger Brigade, and you can see the Honey Badger Brigade radio, which is making almost $7,000 per radio show. Now, if I remember Allison's radio show, she does it about 5 days out of the week, sometimes 7.
Yeah.
And if she's making, say, $70,000 per show, she's estimating about, what is it, 1.68 million?
Yeah, in fairness, that is maximum. And I like to be conservative here and say maybe, because you can limit how much you pay per episode.
Yeah.
And I think it's very unlikely you pay one. Like, you would only pay for one episode if you're doing this sort of thing. But I think 2, and even then it's $700,000 around.
So you're looking at roughly about $1 million shy or above $1 million that she gets every year.
And that's before we even get into her charities and all that other... Well, not her charities, sorry.
Well, the charities also including, her travel for her badgers and the court case that she got, which is $60,000.
Her house.
Not that it really matters too much, but they are also making an additional $93. So in a sense, they are making $7,000 per show.
Oh, and then there's the
over on Maker.
Well, yeah, not just that, but they also have the Badger Bites, whatever that they have, which is an independent one. So you don't know really how much money that they have, but if you just
we're not even talking about merchandise.
Yes, we're not going to include the merchandise because
that's unmeasurable. But the fact is, it's a shit ton of money, and they pretend to care about men.
Well, if they cared about men, that money that Allison Tiemann is making for just on her patronage alone, she could turn around and put out a scholarship for cis white males, say about 2 of them. Yeah. And cover their curricular activities when it comes down to education and house them for a little bit for the 4 years or maybe the 8 years that they want to do. That would be helpful and beneficial towards men. How many?
How's this for an idea? Why doesn't she achieve Earl Silverman's dream of building a battered men's shelter?
Oh, that would just be outstanding. That would be incentive. That'd be.
It's funny because they've already got a house donated to them for their fans, so they've already got a shelter for it. So
that was over $60,000 alone.
Wow, there we go. So a fan just automatically gave them a house.
Well, it wasn't just one fan. It was a team effort. It was one of their past Feed the Badger campaigns, like the ones that they have going on their page right now, which they raise nearly $36,000 to help Brian with his testicular cancer, which a good cause.
That one I'm good for.
But
that one I'm good for. Listen, if someone who's
No,
in
no,
the
no,
community and they need your help.
I get it. I get it for a good cause. For a good cause.
But
it's not like Brian doesn't earn money either through the show.
And I was also going to say, it's not also like it's like right. If they're getting 1.6 million or even 700,000, either two of those goalposts, right? It's not like they can't afford to just pay for his medical bills.
They also just had the achievement unlock, infiltrate Alberta's civil court disguised as ourselves. So glad you're taking this so seriously, Allison. Over almost $17,000.
Yeah.
There's a lot of money being had to be a badger, apparently, because Miss Allison Teeman really just likes to, shill the shit out of herself to a point where we kind of go. She says that, well, if I was doing this for the money, I would be a feminist. Well, Allison, if I'm looking at the math here, and I'm looking at what you actually are willing to give out, let's look at the patronage list. What kind of accesses you get? Okay, at $1 you get a show alert access. Oh my god! At $5 you get the after show and the general chat. Yay! And then at let's see here, $15 you get the Minecraft server and the Badger game chat. Do you actually still have the Minecraft server? Because the last time I remember, and this is going back a few years, you really didn't want to put out the money because you didn't play Minecraft. And
no, she didn't. When I was part of the Badgers at that time and they had the Minecraft server, no, she didn't play. Hannah played from time to time. Rachel played almost all the time. But Karen might be played once. I don't remember. Allison never popped in. She didn't do anything.
Yeah.
And wasn't that account owned by somebody else?
Yes.
One of the other patrons, yes.
So basically, so all she was doing was paying for the access to a patron's, Minecraft server.
Yeah, she was letting someone giving people the privilege to play on someone else's server.
And at the time, it wasn't even one of the official Mojang. It was like one of the tech kits.
Oh wow, that's even better. So let's see here. Then you have access to the Thursday after show chat with the Badgers for $30. Access to the...
No. $30 a show is getting expensive now.
No. How about $50 a show? You get the Tuesday show and the Thursday show.
Yeah.
Or better yet, you can go to $100 and get the Wednesday show included.
Well, I was going to say, what about the $150 where you get a gift?
Oh, the mystery gift from the Badgers. No. If you go to the $300 one, not only do you get a Halloween gift, but you get a Christmas gift and you get an Easter gift, so that you don't feel like a complete loser.
Oh, I remember getting a gift once from Allison. It was just a postcard.
Oh, I got it. You know what? When I first met the Badgers at the GG in BC, hi Karen. I'm waving at you again. I was introduced to Miss Allison Teeman. I actually went up to her booth and said, "Hi, I'm a fan of yours." And I was looking at her wares, and there's one guy that was there who was trying to get a book and a shirt, couldn't afford it. And so I forked over $20 to the guy and kind of go, just buy whatever you want. And so he bought what he wanted and walked away. He was quite happy. And then I got to do a one-on-one with Allison, which was what I really wanted to do in the first place. Because my goal was not only to meet the Badgers, especially Allison Teeman, and to find out exactly what they were all about, because I never heard of them.
Yeah.
I heard of Karen Strong.
Aren't you just a little philanthropist?
I know.
I swear, I can words too. I'm catching it from you.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I want to just, because at one point Allison's talking about how, being an anti-feminist female is like selling hot chocolate in the desert. Right?
Yeah, we can cover that later.
No. But she's... I want to just use an example here for context.
Yeah.
Lacey Green, who's arguably one of the higher end, most popular feminists online, right? Even with her recent, dating a guy with a dick.
Chris Ray-Gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chris Ray-Gun. Shout outs.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but she was a very popular feminist. Her Patreon in correlation is $737 per creation.
Wow. And that's
Which
just for
is-
one person.
And I might be confused, but that seems a lot less than $7,000.
And I would agree that is way less than 7.
That is 1/10. 1/10.
But
Yeah, but I just thought I'd point that out, that being a feminist isn't as always as profitable. As
Oh,
I know. So
Before you took it away, apparently $600 gave you access to all of that stuff.
Oh yeah. But anyways, back to my little introduction to the Badgers, because I think I should spell out this awesome thing. But the ultimate idea was to not only because I was part of the GG in BC, I ended up talking with a few other people who were within that group, and we were trying to figure out what the Badgers was all about, and me being part of not only Reddit and 4chan and 8chan and, well, just put it this way, almost all the chans.
Even me, Chan.
Yeah, well,
Because let's be honest, Rogue, that's how you and I met. Not at GG and BC, but we did meet through Allison.
Yeah. But when it all came down to it, I was asked to do one thing: infiltrate to find out what the fuck the Badgers were all about, and why are they assuming titleship or ownership over Gamergate.
Din, 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 din.
I know.
Din, 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 din.
Yeah, now you're going to be able to find out why I was actually there. I knew about your court case after the fact, and I gathered a lot of details, as well as the whole incident from Victoria. Yeah, that's a place that is in Canada that's on an island that you really don't want to go. It's got lovely wind on one side and then a lot of shade on the other side. Regardless, but so I kind of got mostly talking to Allison about that. I mentioned that, yeah, we have some information, at least I have some information that you should be interested in. And then she presented me with one of her comic books, and then told me to go talk to him. And then she signed it. And I looked at it and I'm like going, oh, thank you. Just what I've always wanted. And not sarcastically, I made sure that I sold it well, that, oh my god, this is what I've always wanted, kind of thing, right? As a true fan, because I'm there to infiltrate. Oh, by the way, I got to see some other people who were more important to me.
Hi, Karen.
Hi, Karen. I see you over there in the corner drinking again. I know, I'm sorry. That's how we met too. You in the corner, coming up to the bar and ordering some drinks. It was awesome. You were a great conversationalist. You just stuck in your side of the room where we had to eventually kind of meander that way in order to get so. Brian, on the other hand, he was a whore. He just talked to everybody. I loved Brian. Hannah just pretty much ate, and she just talked about whatever she was talking about. But yeah, so me and Hannah got chit-chatting in that, and we talked about the problems that you guys were facing, and that the information that you were required, and me telling you that I was a digger gave you that little glimmer of hope, going, oh, we have someone who's going to help us. Well, I taught Hannah how to dig, and she did most of the work for you, and I kind of directed her where the information was. So she did what she was supposed to do as a tool, and I'm quite happy that she did what she was supposed to do. And then I joined the Badgers patronage a few times, and I did mention to Allison that I have different credit card accounts, and if I really wanted to, I can pretty much cover a lot of different things with no questions asked. Just because of the factor of the amount of income I can earn on, well, within certain channels that I really shouldn't be talking about.
Okay.
I know nothing.
But
who is this rogue you speak of?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I originally started off as Roguestar 13, but what do I know? Yes. And then I met up with you, Pen, and then through that I met up with Nudge and a few others, and I kind of got a really good introduction to Allison Tiemann and her greedy ways when poor Nudge was trying to figure out how to get some work and then also be helping out the Badgers with donations and whatnot. And she said, "Oh, it's okay. Just all you have to do is pledge $1." And I'm like, the guy can barely
Oh.
eat. He can,
Yeah, this is this is what I was going to get into, but you're covering it beautifully.
and I'm like, no, the guy can't. He has no work. He can barely eat, and he's living on his own. Plus, he's trying to go to school. He's whoring himself out to be an artist model, a nude artist model, and I'm like going, these are things that he shouldn't really have to do. But all you're saying is like, oh yeah, it's okay. He can still just pledge $1. No. And this is when they were still on Skype, and so I kind of encouraged her to put up a free version of Skype where I had a bit of control. So did she, because she didn't trust me, which I didn't mind. And Brian, which again gave access to the Badgers. I was hoping Karen would be also included with the deal because Karen is the more popular out of the entire set.
Yeah,
So-
she's a platinum card.
Yeah, she is a platinum card. You give them the ability, a lot of people will show up, and then you can chill until your heart's content, getting more. So it's a free product that you're offering, but you're also shilling out DLC content, kind of going, if you want more, you'll have to go here. If you want to have better access, you have to go here.
Oh, so what you're saying is Allison is EA.
Pretty much.
Yes.
She could have been EA, but she liked the idea up to a certain point. And then there was a bit of infighting within the Skype portion of it, to a point where she told me quite frankly that my money wasn't good enough for her anymore, and that.
Oh, what? Let me see if I can translate that into Alanese and
Uh-huh.
or Timonese, I should say, Timonese. You can't pay enough for the information that you have on me, so get the fuck out of my face.
Something like that. Or actually, no. It was more or less is that you're driving me fucking crazy. I like you as a person, but you scare the living hell out of me.
Yeah.
She was more concerned with the fact of the information that I did have, and when she brought up about her court case that she was going to go with, and against the Mary Sue, and then I asked the question. So, and I mentioned her dad's name. Who is this? What is he to you? She flipped out. She's like, how do you know my dad? Well, I know both your dad and your mom. And I know that your dad works for an oil rigging company, and he makes a pretty good amount of money. And you also have a bit of money on the side.
And you're hired by your dad.
Yeah, and there's a lot more information that I have that if the Mary Sue decided to really dig, you'd be fucked. And from that point on, I kind of had my ins with a certain individual badger. Hi, Remy, if you're actually listening, which I doubt you are. The French badger. He was my go-to person, and he listened to me because after the whole... the show that was Allison Tiemann versus Rachel. Actually, no, I think it was Allison. No, it wasn't Allison. It was Rachel versus Karen Strong.
That's right.
Oh, yes, I remember that.
I told
Yes.
Rachel on my end of it to stop. Let me work this out, and I'll let you know when you can start. And after that, I haven't heard from Rachel in a very long time. Because now...
Quite honestly, neither have I.
I would say right now, Rachel, if you are listening, and I doubt you are, this is the time to start.
Yes.
Question, Rogue. Shall I share this now and tag not only Rachel Edwards, but also tag
Hi,
Honey
Fliss.
Badger Bites?
Yes, please. Tag everybody you want. Hey, Fliss, how you doing?
Alrighty. Yes, for some reason I'm seeing Fliss in the chat, but I'm not seeing I'm seeing it in the restream chat, but I'm not seeing it in the Twitch side chat.
Yeah, that's one thing I just noticed.
Okay, keep in mind that I have Nemo stream because I'm streaming on Nemo, so she could be on Nemo stream.
Oh, that could be a possibility.
This is why I said if I had access, if the GNF had access to your hosting abilities, whenever GNF does recording
a show,
we would also be on everybody else's show, like their own little thing. And we can actually interact at different locations. Henceforth, when I said I feel like I'm alone, I was actually interacting on the GNF side.
I see.
Shall I also tag Mr. Metokur?
Please, by all means, tag Jim and tell him I love him. He's my my go-to. He's my spirit animal. He is the perfect troll. I love Jim. Jim is awesome. Jim is I don't want to be riding his cock or anything, but Jim is the guy that you want to have on your side. Unlike Allison, who decided to go in, I'm going to kind of get away from my story a little bit and go back to the narrative that is. We're probably going to pick up my story much later, or I could probably do this on a future show later, because there's a lot more to this than what you all know about the awesome honey badgers, or at least Allison Tiemann. When she decided to come into White Knight for Dr. Amercam, she did very poorly. We'll put it that way. To a point where all she wanted to do was shill, and thought the Bloodsport was all about shilling.
Yeah, no, that's a lie, though. She just... No, here's the thing. This is my theory, and of course I'm not a mind reader, but the way it seemed was when she said, that's what the Bloodsport is all about, she just seemed to make that as an excuse. What it seemed like was she used this as an opportunity to just sell the court case thing.
She did.
And hoped no one would notice until they really put her feet to the fire. And then I guess it was less painful for her.
Yeah, but here's the problem. Their chat figured it out very quickly.
Yeah.
To a point where they were booing her. If you actually get a chance to actually go to the Kumitai's Bloodsport spot and look at their chat while they're scrolling by, and in it they got seriously ranty after a fact, to a point where even what's his face came back and said you're pissing off the chat. Whatever you're doing, you're making the chat upset. And then she admitted that she was only there to shill, and they told her to fuck off. And so she did. And then,
but then she came back at the video going, guys, I'm sorry, I didn't research. I didn't know what I was on here for.
Yeah.
I'm such a weak girl. Even though I've been doing radio for like 7 years, I'm just too confused to know better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, get fucked.
She tried that. That's why I said there's 3 parts to this, to it, Pen. And again, it comes back down. She was trying to deevaluate the whole situation, saying, and again, this was the whole feminist agenda. See, this is why I say that the MRAs who decided to create the honey badgers and have women do this, especially Allison Tiemann, she is a hardcore feminist. She came from an all-girls school who practiced the religion of feminism. She says this at her own little what do you call it? Her
documentary to herself.
That's it. Thank you. I knew that my brain would eventually work, but you worked for me, which is even better. And she mentions that in her doc about herself and how she eventually came to become an MRA.
Yeah.
Which that's a lie, because if she really talked about it, she would have said that, hey, somebody else kind of found me and made me a badger.
Yeah.
If it was, was it Paul Elam that
Paul Elam, as far as I know, but because they all worked like as writers for A Voice for Men at the time, and they go, listen, it'd probably be in our best interest to have a female centric show about men's rights, so, and that's when they kind of got encouraged, because they wanted to do a radio show, and they go, why don't you do one like this, as females talking about men's issues, because we know that can get a lot of asses in the seats, which it did.
That's because you had some really good ones like Diana Davis, who really knows what she's talking about. Karen Strong, who you know, again, was really focused on it.
Very verbose, very good at talking to things.
Mhm.
Kind of, you know, can be funny when she needs to be, but really good at being serious at the same time.
Mhm.
You know, I would even say Crystal Garcia really cares about men. You know what I mean?
But again,
She really
these are
appreciates
people.
masculinity and all the virtues of it. You know?
And again, I have to point this out. These are people
Yeah.
like I think we've mentioned in a previous Red Pill Compendium that they, like Karen, had something that was more important to them. There was a reason of why they were doing what they were doing, versus whatever Alison Tiemann is doing and how she's doing it, where she's no more than a ultimate shill. That's all she does is shill. The moment she found out that the shill was an actual phrase, she just, I'm going to shill everything.
Yes. Now, I'm also going to add that if you listen to her language, she's very good at changing the narrative to be on you in almost any situation. If you listen to the debate she had with Mr. Metokur,
Nemo.
even
Tell
though
me
she
about
failed,
your mother. How do you feel about your mother?
yeah, exactly. But get your emotions out. And then she was like, you know,
I think you're a
I've
really
never,
nice guy, Nemo. I think you're really good.
yeah. Hey, I've never heard of Rick and Morty. You have to tell me about it sometime.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Allison is not that stupid.
No, she's not, but she's good at playing this actress. And now it really changed my mind when I watched her original videos.
I mean,
introduced to her, which were the ones about what's it called? The myth, not the myth of power. The you know the ones I'm talking about, the original ones. The
Yeah, I've got to go back on that one. There are weird ones back in the day.
back in the day, right?
Day.
Yeah. But it doesn't really matter.
No, but when you look at it, I mean, if you look at who they have for the current lineup, you kind of question about everything about it. Bertrand, Della Bertrand is the other one. Breaking the Glass, the author behind that one.
Yeah. No, well, no, not breaking the glasses, but that's a good point, right?
Yeah,
but
those were the original four.
Yeah.
That was the original crew.
Yeah.
It was Burton, Davison, Strong, and Tiemann.
Yeah, yes, it was.
See, I knew that eventually my brain would actually kind of click on all these little things here.
No, good job.
You got there eventually.
I know, it always happens. I mean, Diana Davison is the only
Threat narrative. That's what I was thinking of.
See, we sidetracked and we got something different.
Yeah.
This goes back down to the Kathy Young thing, right?
Well, and not just that, but also about, she did about that, but she started this threat narrative, I guess, talk about 8 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But she uses that like an expert when talking to almost anyone. She'll use that to her benefit.
Well,
she'll always make sure that she's the one in front.
Well, keep that in mind. She has been doing that for 7 years, or at least as long as she's been in the Badgers, so that makes sense. That's her thing. That's her clinch.
Yeah.
And again, if it wasn't for guys like Elam, the Badgers would never have been a thing.
Yeah.
And he's walked away from them.
Don't please. And this is something that I had an argument with Jim back in an old Skype group that I was in. Just he would help prop up the Badgers, and that it was wrong to criticize them because they were the only females who were willing to fight on the front for men's issues. I'm sitting here going,
wrong.
But
Listening.
Is it worth the unethical practices that they go through? Is it worth the possible lies and the shadiness if it means advancing men's rights? And the answer I got back was yes. And I'm sitting here going, no, because then it's built upon a foundation that's not stable.
Correct.
This is the problem that we needed to address with Gamergate.
Yes.
Well, Gamergate was addressing that all by itself. We didn't need MRAs to infiltrate. We really didn't.
No, yes, you're absolutely right. But then look at what happened. And I swear to God, I still attribute it to this day. If it wasn't for what happened at Calgary at Allison's hands, which she's fighting the lawsuit now on, if it wasn't for Allison, Gamergate wouldn't have had as hard of a time afterwards, because what happened a week later? I think it was the Denver Comic-Con.
Yep.
Banned anything having to do with any sympathy towards Gamergate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it just cascaded. But Penn, you don't know that it was directly. No. It directly was attributed to Allison Tayman. You know why? Because, as I mentioned earlier in the show, it happened, and I was getting complaints from my contacts at Dragon Con going, "Are you seeing what's happening?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm seeing what's happening." So industry people talk to each other. You don't think that they don't?
Yeah, of course they do. It's the same as once again. It's the same as Gamergate. How all the journalists, quote unquote, talk to each other. It works the same way it does in politics. It works the same way it does in the Hollywood. All these motherfuckers talk to each other. That's obvious.
Yep. No, it's simple. Hell, even people like ourselves, the trolls, the diggers, we all talk. We all give information. We all have our sources. And unfortunately, for somebody with like Allison Tiemann, she really doesn't understand this. She thinks that her group is the only one. She thinks that her group is the only one that knows how to do shit. Sorry, but Allison, you're completely wrong. Yet again, we've had this argument before, you and I. And again, I'm making it a little bit personal. You fucked over a few things. You didn't even know about anything that was happening within the Gamergate spectrum. That we were having a sit down to have actual people debate us. We were getting recognized as a group that wanted our gaming industry on both the journalistic side as well as the ethical side, as well as the gaming side, to be somewhat forthcoming, very, very open about what they were doing in their practices. And yet you came along with your stupid little group and you fucked it all up.
Yes.
Now, I could put that squarely on you, but I'm going to kind of go, you benefited out of it, whether you want to admit it or not.
Yeah. She absolutely benefited from it.
Oh yeah. Even knowing that she's got to go through this lawsuit that she could possibly win. What is, I said could. I didn't say she would.
Yeah.
Well, the last that I ended up hearing, I don't know how different it might be, is they were attempting, they had been offered a settlement.
Yeah,
and
until Brian said something.
And now they're going back to litigation.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, Brian went publicly on his Twitter and said, "We won."
Which he shouldn't have done. And
you do not do that.
Because Allison even said that he should have never have done that.
Yeah.
My heart.
Now here's a question, right?
To see that artwork, to see my beautiful artwork used for such evil means.
Yeah.
Suck on it. It is kind of hard to see what it is, because look, see, you're gonna tell me that, hey, that this was in form of propaganda?
Yeah, of course it was.
That she was just selling her wares?
Yeah, no. This is I'm gonna push the idea that Calgary, the Cal X thing, was planned from the get-go. She was hoping to get kicked out so she could.
Okay, wait. Let's be fair for just 1 second. I'm not gonna, in complete defense of Allison, but let's set some context. I'm not being devil's advocate.
That's the whole idea. That's what we do here. It's devil's. It is, we're offering the truth and nothing more, but we also have to take this gray line and see both sides of the equation. This is where we play the devil's advocate.
So initially, and she was initially correct when she was debating, or I should say arguing, because it wasn't a debate, with Mr. Metokur during.
Put it this way: Bloodsport isn't about a debate. It's about the
blood. She did originally sign up to go to Calgary Expo to sell her comics. But then she had the brilliant idea to have all honey badgers go. So she set up a fundraiser to get everybody funded to go. Now, if Allison was just going to sell her comics, why would she also have all the Badgers go who are not involved with her comic making? They're part of the Honey Badger podcast.
Yeah, no, that I would say was kind of odd.
Yeah, well, it's not just that, Rob. Well, you're right, but as I said, I have no proof to say what I just said. But I guess my evidence is that it seemed to be more Honey Badger based than Xenospora based, right? The space that was set up for Xenospora was very small in comparison to the space that was set up for Honey Badgers, right? And when she finally went to the panel, she did speak out. She didn't wait for questions. She did it in the middle of a thing, which is not according to guidelines. Does that mean she deserved to get kicked out? No. But I have a funny feeling that she was more cluey on what she was doing than what she pretends.
Again, I will play. Okay, fine. I will advocate once again.
See, it's a beautiful thing, Pen. It's what we do here.
I know. I don't agree with it, but I'll for the sake of putting it out there. Her and Sage Gerard had gone to the comics panel early on, midway on the first day.
Yes.
Supposedly, people were already complaining that there was a Gamergate booth that was allowed there, which was not, because she hadn't marketed it as help me out here. It wasn't marketed as a Gamergate booth. She just had Gamergate merch there.
Okay, hang on.
And the banner, which she put up high enough for other people to see.
So I'm just going to kind of decorate my place here, because I'm just going to clutter it up. So I'm looking at the booth.
Mm-hmm.
I see the banner. It's got the Gamergate logo, ethics.
It's got Vivian James.
Yeah. And we've got the little thing on the bottom there that also has the Gamergate thing on her actual place where you do the purchases.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the Vivian James thing in the corner. So how is this not really a Gamergate booth?
So when she had initially signed up as for Xenospora, then she had emailed to change it to Honey Badgers, which they had allowed. But what they didn't know was that she was going to be hanging the banners for Gamergate.
No, she didn't. And this is what I'm saying. Like, I know I'm suspicious.
Now getting back to the point, she and Sage Gerard had gone to the comics panel, sometime midday on the first day, and in the middle of the panel, they're talking about women's in comics, the women's in comics, and according to Allison, there was a comment made about MRAs to a comment and then a question that the panelists couldn't seem to answer. So Allison basically raised her voice and said, "Can I field that question?" To which the panelist gave her the go-ahead. Now, that's not necessarily an admission to an allowance to disrupt a panel, because from a panelist's view, depending on how you take it, Allison could have been asking, "Can I do this in your defense?" Because she could have thought that she was going to take the feminist side, because of course Alice is a woman. So yeah, I'm going to assume this woman is going to speak for all women. And then when the conversation wasn't going the way that the panelists wanted, then they claimed harassment.
Yes, I did.
There's a video clip somewhere on the Badgers. I'm sure you have a backup of it of somewhere too, Rogue. But there's a clip on the Badgers stream somewhere of the entire hour that her and Sage were sitting in the panel, and that they were whispering back and forth to each other while the panelists are going on. How well anybody's able to interpret that whispering, be my guest. But 18 minutes in is when Allison disrupts, and I will say that I will use that term because even though the panelists gave her permission, it is still a disruption. It is still a disruption. I've hosted panels before. It is a disruption.
Okay.
Yeah, like you kitty cats trying to disrupt us.
Yeah. So
And
it was.
well, once again, like, as a, and I'm not saying I know anything for sure. I'm just saying that it seems that someone who seems to be as intelligent as Alison tends to be, at very least, she would have been aware of all these things going on, intertwining with each other, and understand that it's risky to do what she did. But once again, that's not saying it's absolutely malicious, but it's at very least foolhardy.
Correct. And again, this seems to be a natural thing that Allison does when it comes down to being foolhardy. She, like it or not, really goes full investment of the victim card.
Yes, she does.
And a person who really hates really hates the fact that feminists will do exactly the same thing, play the victim.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, to a point where after she was kicked out, what did she do?
She cried on camera.
She went
Yes,
to
she
the
did.
tube and she cried. Look, she's playing the victim. Now,
Yeah.
whether, again, she can probably, try to, I doubt she will, claim this. By all means, Allison, go for it. But we're also a radio show, so claim a radio show too. All you have to do is go on Honey Badger's YouTube if you really want to, or again go over to our live version either on Twitch or YouTube later, that you can see this lovely woman telling about her woes of being kicked out of the Cal Expo just because she put up a few signs and she spoke out. She was fighting the good fight, and it didn't work out for her.
Yeah.
And then she brings out, I don't know, how long is this thing? 10 minutes of her pretty much weeping and crying on this thing. So we're done. So yeah.
Rogue, I'm going to send you another gift via Discord.
Okay.
This is my collage of events and whatnot.
Okay.
Of conversations that had taken place for something else that happened. Part of it includes the Rachel and Karen fiasco. Part of it includes the Badgers asking for more money. And part of it includes a certain comment from someone else about possibly having the idea of getting kicked out
Oh.
And,
on purpose from the con.
Hang on, but that's what I was saying before you defended it.
No, but again, we have to play devil's advocate.
No, I know. Okay. You're right.
So I like your approach, sir, but we have to play the devil's advocate.
No. You're right. I take it back.
No.
So when I wasn't expecting you to put it up so soon because you kind of have to like literally zoom in.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna play with that.
On my entire time frame.
Let's give me a few here because I gotta zoom in. I gotta remember how to do this. So while you keep talking, I will figure this out because I think I remember.
I don't really think that there's much more to talk about because I knew that this was still on my Imgur that I had posted a long while back. This is when I started getting the comments about the tinfoil theories and whatnot. Or was it after?
Probably after, because keep in mind I was part of that. Oh, no, we won't do that. I'm going to do something else later. Let me get out of this. No, because I was kind of there for that, and I told you to actually get a tinfoil hat and make sure it's a boulder and put it on your head.
Okay.
I still probably have that image somewhere. Thank you, Hannah, for my tinfoil bowler hat.
Now, I guess all I wanted to, add for now because we've kind of done part one. I think we're getting towards it.
Yeah,
but I'm just wondering.
We're getting past part one. There's a lot more. There's probably part 2, maybe part 3.
Yep. I'm just wondering how we can wrap this one up in a bow and like talk about because we've covered who Allison is. We've covered who the Honey Badgers are and why they're like a bit controversial. I guess I want to say what we're going to be talking about next week.
Well, we're going to
Just
be talking
as a
more
wrap-up.
about what the blood sport is
Later
and
this week.
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
later this week. We're going to be talking more about the blood sport and why it became a thing for Allison Teeman to actually join in the fun. And then
Yes.
figure out exactly where Mike and his mindset was at. That's going to be a different challenge altogether because we
Ooh. I almost imagine this. If this ever could be a possibility, once you go through the whole gambit, maybe we should contact Worski and Kumite and Metokur and say, okay, can we have can we have a gator and
Bloodsport.
frog versus the honey badgers
yeah, it's
blood sport?
I doubt
I
they'll
love
show
it.
up. I doubt they'll
Yeah.
show up.
Yeah, they wouldn't. The fact that we know some pretty personal stuff. Yeah.
And
Anyway,
I've been watching the Honey Badger Social Blade for like the last hour or so. They gained some subscribers. They also lost some subscribers. So it's going up and down.
So, well, they've been going
Interesting.
up and down for a while. They're like a yo-yo that never seems to stop.
yeah, but they definitely. Anyway, you know what?
Of course, Nemo's already stocked for words. So we're going to get down to the wrap-up things here. So
Yeah.
this was the Red Pill Compendium. I was one portion of this awesome team. No, it is the Canadian Rogue. We were presented with a lovely guest, Panini-chan, who you can find at Panini-chan at Panini-chan Plays on a YouTube channel that she's migrating over to her Twitch side. She's also a member of Gator and Frog, which we do air on the Saturday show, roughly about 9 p.m. PST, my time. I think it's what, your time, 11 o'clock? Or is it 12?
It's 12 going into Sunday morning.
And then over there in the Nemo side, I think it's what?
Roughly 3:00.
I was going to say that 3 o'clock. We also have a person who we're missing, Draconith, who is roaming around somewhere, trying to move from one mountain to another, and he's usually roughly around at 10 or 11. Or
It's
something.
a really big cave. He has to take his whole horde with him.
I know.
And next episode, we're likely to have someone else, a guest, join us.
Ooh,
They
a
could guess.
guest. So apparently Nemo found a guest. So we're gonna have a guest who's gonna fill in a few
Put our
more little
service to the
details
test.
on what it is the Badgers and why Allison Team would do what she did, was participate in a blood sport that she had nothing to do with.
Yeah.
On that
Sounds
note, ladies
fun.
and gentlemen, I wish you all a good night. No, ado, Pen. Not today. We do
Not
it
today.
Saturday.
Okay. I was getting ready for it too. I was like, wait, this is not
No,
that
no.
kind of show.
I know it's not that type
No,
of show. All right. So I'm gonna have to work a little bit more magic here to work on the what do you call it, the outro, because unlike certain other people, I have a hard time trying to create the outro. So like I said that before, ladies and gentlemen, all you have to do is go over to gatorandfrog.com on the Twitch side and just sign up there, or better yet, you can go over to gatorandfrog.com. That's gator and the letter n frog.com and subscribe there, or you can go over to networks, follow those little tiny icons that'll show up with my lovely face, Nemo's, Pans, or Draconith, and go to our respective YouTube channels. Pretty soon I'm going to have them linking over to our Twitch shows. And like I said that before, ladies and gentlemen, I wish you all a good night, and I'm going to have to hit a button for getting the outro again. And of course it doesn't want to work.
Thanks for taking the gag out of my mouth. Ooh, I probably should go get the Imgur.
All
Well,
right.
'cause I just shared that image that I had given to you with